Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jordan Campbell here on Inside the Circle. I'm with mental performance coach Jake Lee here from Winter Circle Athletics. Episode 2, we really want to dive into more of a serious issue and kind of what we're seeing here, not only with our athletes that came through the program, just across the country, right? So many athletes deal with emptiness, loneliness, and this facade of social media makes it look like everybody is just living the dream and everybody's happy and there's no depression out there. But in all reality, for the decades, we've seen athletes who really struggle with mental performance. And also, when they do ask for help, right, a lot of people make fun of them, right? They get made fun of. They don't get the help they need until it's too late, right? So today we're going to break down a video with Mike Beasley and just kind of chop through his video and just kind of listen to what he went through throughout his process as a basketball player and even making millions of dollars, right? He's depressed, he's lonely, he's crying in this video because he's really been looking for help his whole life and he can't find it. So we're gonna chop this down and hopefully be able to help our athletes who come through our program, whether it's middle school, high school, college, or even our professional athletes or people who are done playing with their career, find some answers that they're looking for.
I think this is so important to talk on, JC, for so many reasons. You know, obviously we're going to talk on Mike Beasley and his experience, you know, obviously being a professional athlete and still struggling. Man, in my line of work, man, I just noticed that we're all struggling, and yet we all don't know that we're struggling.
For sure.
And there's
until
it's too late. You know, you don't know what you don't know. Some of us do know that we don't know.
Yeah.
Some of us know, but we aren't willing to put in the work. And then there's ultimately we know and we're going to put in the work.
Definitely.
Right? And so it's that healing process of knowing like, hey, I got an issue here. I need to work on this thing. But getting to that point is so much.
Yeah,
so much work, man.
And it shouldn't be shut up and dribble, right? 100%. You hear that all the time. It's okay for athletes to be vulnerable. It's okay for them to show softness. It's okay for them to ask for help. But even with me being in locker rooms my whole life, from USC to Louisville, Cincinnati Bengals, right? All these different pro stadiums that I've been in, it's very hard for you to be weak. It's hard for you to be vulnerable because you're in a locker room full of alpha males and everyone wants your job, right? They want your contract, they want your money, they want your playing time. So we've been told our whole life since we're little kids, don't be soft, don't be a girl, don't do this, don't express yourself, right? Me playing linebacker and fullback, those are two of the toughest positions in football. And I didn't know how to be vulnerable until I got married and had a wife, right? And you learn and you have a kid and you become softened. And I struggle with this my whole life, right? Trying to find hope and peace after the game ended, trying to find an identity because we put our identity in playing sports for our whole entire life, right? But eventually that's going to end.
Exactly.
And then when it does end, what is our purpose,
That's
right? And do we find our purpose in sex, drugs, alcohol, addiction? And so many athletes do, versus finding true peace, right? And I'm going through that in my life right now. I went through from 5 to 15. I was trying to figure out what my talent was, playing baseball, basketball, football, soccer, skateboarding, whatever it may have been. Once I found football and that was my talent, I spent 15 to 25 really trying to figure out how I could be the best football player possible, how I could start varsity as a freshman, how I could win a high school CIF championship, how I could get a scholarship, how I could win a national championship, how I could make it to the NFL. And then obviously 25 to 35 was me building my business, right? I always put my purpose in being successful, right? But what happens is when you hit these milestones and you do start varsity as a freshman, when you do win a championship, when you do get the scholarship, when you do run a successful business, when you do buy the car that you want, the house, that you have the family, you obtain these goals, but then you end up feeling loneliness and emptiness still, right? And at least for me, that's kind of how it was. It's if I can make $10,000, I'm gonna be happy. If I can make 20,000, if I can make 40,000, if I could buy one house, then it becomes two houses. But when you put your purpose in materialistic things, right? And success, well, for me, I was so obsessed with accomplishing those goals. And every goal I've set in my life, I've accomplished. And once I got that goal and once I was successful and I obtained that, I was immediately empty again.
Exactly.
Right? And at 35 years old, as I go through this next chapter, I'm really spiritually trying to find myself because there has to be a higher calling out there. Yes. It can't just be off of materialistics. It can't just be off of success and these different things, right? So for me on my spiritual journey, my spiritual walk, really trying to figure out who I am, what I want to be, and what true peace and hope and happiness is. And I came across this video, and it's sad, but I think it's something that everybody needs to understand, what the process really looks like, and how do you navigate through it.
That's right. That's right. This camera on me, I hope y'all are paying attention. All right. This is episode 2. This is the intro. All right. JC dropping gems off the rip. Okay. You said something. I just want to touch on this real quick. You said the process. And I think what gets often misconstrued or isn't fully comprehended is that the process is not just a physical go out and put your effort in, go daily deposits. There is so much spiritual and mental that goes into it, understanding who you are and who you're becoming and what the journey is and why that goal is important to you in the first place and what's it actually going to do. Where in actuality, what it is, hey, we got to get the check.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't want to scare kids from chasing their dream, right? But understand the process is scary. It's ugly. It's fearful. There's betrayal. There's trauma. The process isn't sexy, right? No. So many people hashtagging and put it on a shirt. You don't understand until you climb that mountain, right? And when you do climb that mountain, society constantly builds you up to tear you down. And the reason why they do that is they build you up to show other people that it could be done. But if they don't tear you down or if you don't fall, then who else is going to be able to replace you and climb that mountain, you know? And I've gone through this on the highest level in my life. And it is a fun process, but there is a lot of highs and lows. And I feel like if we could really teach these kids and give them the answers to the test before they go on it, we'll never be able to give them all the answers to the test. But if we could equip you with the right team, the right circle, the right people to eliminate you from the heartache and the tears and the depression and addiction and all these different things that just naturally come a part of the process. And don't think that you're just so strong and you have the support system to do it. I've watched the process break the strongest and the best athletes in the world, right?
All the time.
And it happens year in and year out. And we got to be able to ask for help. We got to be able to self-reflect and understand what's going on around us, make the right decisions, right? Whether that's from going to the right school, having the right coach, having a mental performance coach, having a life coach, and being okay to ask for help when you do go through adversity, because it's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be a lot of highs. There's going to be a lot of lows. And how do you balance that, right? Pete Carroll always said, you just want to stay even cute and you want to be right there. You never want to get too high. You never want to get too low. But a lot of those cliches and things, right? Those are cool slogans. But when life hits, deaths in your family, whether you get cut, whatever may happen, right? There's so many things that will come up on your journey that you never even thought would be possible.
Exactly.
But life is life, and hopefully we could help not only our students but everybody out there be able to navigate through that process and be able to manage that and know when to ask help when it's time.
That's right. And I do want to just mention this quick point is this is not easy. Okay, to admit that you are struggling and that you need help, that's not easy.
Not at all.
All right. I can assure you this, there are probably multiple people that have already clicked off of this podcast because they're feeling uncomfortable. Okay. What we're talking about is not easy, but you got to recognize that the journey that you're on is not an easy journey. Okay. So the stuff that we're doing is set to prepare you, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Right. And to make sure that the future generation is in a far better position than we ever could have been. Right. So that's all today is to ensure that you're getting the nuggets that you need. And hopefully at least one of these points hits home and you can go take it, apply it, utilize it, and become a better version of you from it.
Yeah. And one more thing before we jump into this video, a lot of black athletes and a lot of minority athletes, because we come from nothing, right? We heard the dream, we heard the story 1,000 times over, right? The kid who made it out of poverty.
That's right.
And became elite and became famous. Well, a lot of those times, those athletes don't even have a clue how to conduct themselves. They just trust other people that are around them. But as a black athlete, we're asked to carry a household, right? Yes. And it's not fair to black athletes. It's not fair to minorities out there. And what I mean by carry a household, it's your uncle, it's your cousin, mom, dad. You hear it all the time. I want to buy a house for my mom. I want to do that. And that's awesome. But you also, when I went through the draft process, they told me when I had my coach who was coaching me for interviews for teams, was, don't say you want to buy your mom a house, you want to buy her this, you want to buy her that, because that means you have people around you who are only depending on you, and it's only going to stress you out as an athlete, and your focus is going to be taking care of the village, and the only village that you really have and you need as an athlete, for me, it's the church, right? It's the spiritual. It's someone to lean on that doesn't want anything from you. Not saying that's every church, right? But the minority athlete is depended on. We're taught and we're shown or whatever that we have to carry that burden of our household.
So true.
And it's very hard for a 21 or 22-year-old kid to take on that responsibility. And I've seen it break so many athletes that I know because they were so focused on taking care of everybody around them. Everyone stole from them. They took advantage of them. And it left a lot of hate in their heart. It left a lot of betrayal and trauma. And they ended up being lonely, and they ended up being hopeless, and they ended up by themselves at the end because once the ball dropped, once the check stopped coming, the vacation stopped, everybody went back to their life, and they got off the roller coaster, and they left that athlete there to figure things out themselves.
Never want to be in that position where you're trying to figure life out by yourself.
Yeah.
That's not the goal. Okay?
Oh,
That's not the goal.
All right, so we're going to jump into this podcast with Michael Beasley and just kind of listen what he has to say, and we're going to kind of reflect on it.
The only people in your life who haven't stolen from you are your kids. Now that you are an adult, now that at least right now you're out of basketball, are you searching out other people to build adult relationships with? Or are you or has everything that's happened in your life been so difficult?
You want me real with you?
Yeah.
I don't leave the house. I play basketball and I go home. I don't care what y'all do no more.
And so right there, they just asked him, right, what are you doing? Are you seeking help, right? Are you looking for things to do now that basketball's over? And you could just look in his eyes and see the pain. And he said, I don't do anything, right? I'm by myself. I just play basketball. And you could tell he's broken. You could see it in his face. You could see it in his eyes. Even though the facade of the nice watch, the Gucci shirt, the chains, right, the appearance on the outside looks like he has it together. But as soon as he starts being asked these questions, you could see the loneliness and the emptiness that he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you can totally tell. You can see it in the facial expression, everything, the body language. And when I'm watching this, like I see someone who's battling some depression. Right. Yeah. And when I think of that word depression, what I'm thinking of is lack, right? Like lack of love, lack of respect for yourself, lack of identity. So much lack going on where the goal is to have the awareness that we are abundant.
Yeah.
We have everything that we need, and we can have everything that we need so long as we allow ourselves to have it. Right. But wiring yourself to be able to notice those things and have the perspective is difficult.
Definitely
it's difficult, man.
All I care about is playing basketball all day. I go home and I try to talk to my kids as much as I can. I don't see them as much as I can because I'm not traveling as much no more. I don't know what to expect when I leave this house no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out and I've reached out so more that I gotta die with some kind of dignity.
That's not sustainable. Like, you too young, bro. That's not sustainable, bro.
So here he talks about how he doesn't go out. He stays at home, right? He doesn't have friends. He's just isolated. And when you isolate a person like they do in prison, that the idle time is the devil time. That's a downtime. When you're in isolation, that's the worst thing you could do for a human because you're there by yourself, right? And if you're already lonely and you're depressed and you don't have positive thoughts, right, you start getting intrusive thoughts, right? Intrusive thoughts are you're not worth anything. You're worthless. Everyone used you. You used to be good enough. You're no longer good enough. Now look at you. You're here by yourself. You're lonely. You're never going to play basketball again. And you could just see in his face that he's broken, right? And go ahead.
No, you're hitting the nail on the head there, Jay. And having these thoughts day in, day out, all it's going to do is formulate a belief there at that point. And once the belief is set that I'm worthless, that I can't. He said that, I don't even try to like go talk to people anymore. I play basketball, I go home.
Yeah.
And so you got to recognize that there's certain routines that we as people do just naturally that either give us the energy that we need to become the version that we're trying to become, or it just depletes us and puts us in this position of, like I was saying earlier, lack, right? So I'm hearing him some more here, and I was talking about depression last time, how it's a lack of the love, lack of appreciation. What I'm hearing from a sports psychology standpoint is he has felt this way for so long that the belief is formed, and now that the belief is formed, he has the lack of desire to even get out of this position. So he may feel as though he is stuck in this position, and that's only because he's had these intrusive thoughts day after day, week after week, month after month for so long that he feels like this is reality, right? But you got to understand something. If you ever put yourself in a mental barrier like that, or you're ever finding yourself in a slump like that, you are the one that is responsible for putting yourself there. And I don't say that to make you feel bad about yourself. I don't say that to make you second guess what you're doing. I'm saying it because if you're the one that puts yourself in a position, you're the one that can get yourself out of that position. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to dissect what Mike's talking about here, but I'm also going to try and drop some mental nuggets for y'all because I know he's not the only one going through this.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think so many athletes get let down throughout their journey, whether it's from a coach, right, a teacher, a parent, a financial advisor who took advantage of them, a family member. And they're so hurt and they're so broken, they're beat up by the time they're done playing. For this guy, right, he doesn't even know where to go.
Exactly.
And he doesn't know who to go to. And it's really scary because, again, you see a lot of people and athletes where that leads to addiction, that leads to partying and different things like that. And like the other guy said, it's not sustainable, right? And it's definitely not sustainable. And for the younger athletes who are middle school, high school, college, right, you have to put the right people around you as you go through your journey in middle school, right? And because how sports and athletics is really shaped here in California now, the first hard decision for kids to make, right, and all the peer pressure starts coming on is that middle school time, right? They're at that age where they're still good kids, but now the bad kids who are doing bad things are now the popular kids, right?
Exactly.
So they're getting their strings pulled on. Should I continue down this road of doing the right thing, or should I try to be like these other kids out there who are supposed to be the popular kids, right? And the popular kids at middle school age are a lot of times who are already doing drugs and ditching school and having sex, and that peer pressure for these kids at middle school, I feel like it's the hardest age, that eighth grade time, because you're battling who you want to be. Once you get to high school, a lot of these kids already know they're going to be a loser, or they're already doing drugs, or they're already partying, or they're already having sex. Or the other kids who go the other way are the ones who are really focused and locked in and walking still the straight path.
Exactly.
And it's tough because you see a lot of these kids, because of social media and the things that are out there now. You can't get away from this stuff, right? Before, when I was going to middle school, you could go home and you could escape every problem that's out there, right? Now it follows you home, right? Now kids have pressure of, do I post a picture? Do I not? Do I have enough likes on my video? Whatever it may be. And it's a nonstop peer pressure for them, and it's a nonstop being judged. And we're really seeing that with kids that are in 8th grade going into 9th grade, and the pressure that the parents are putting on the kids to go to these certain schools, or to play for these top teams, or fly around the country to go play for nationals and things like that. And it's really not that serious. Yes, it's good to have goals. It's good to dream. It's good to work hard, right? But you as parents have to be able to ask your kids questions, right? Not just surface conversations, but really see when your kids are struggling, before it gets to a suicidal point, or gets to them hurting themselves. Parents need to slow down their lifestyle and realize that these kids at 14 years old do have a lot of pressures. It's not the same time and generation when we grew up. There's a lot more distractions out there for these kids.
They're all over. And like you're saying, social media, they're seeing these images of people who they're looking up to, like, I have to resemble that. Right? Or they're seeing certain workouts that certain athletes are doing, like, I have to do that workout, not knowing, like, this is specifically crafted for that type of body style and that certain, like, position and whatnot. You hit the nail on the head, man. 7th, 8th grade, that without a doubt, the most difficult time. Is extremely difficult. There's so much going on. Listening, man. Like we're talking about parents asking these questions. Listen, Michael Beasley is talking this way because he never had anyone listen to him. Like if he had someone listen to him, this isn't we're not watching this video. Okay.
And I think people listened to him, but it was all surface conversations.
Yeah.
Hey, go out. Just
Yeah.
come out, party with us. Come drinking. Go have sex. Go pop pills. Do this. That's not fixing the problem, right? That's just all surface stuff. That's
surface.
Small moments of happiness.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, those little they'll go away, right? It's not sustainable happiness. It's not true peace. It's not true hope.
Exactly.
And once you do go out and party or come hang out with us, that he doesn't want that.
No.
He's looking for something deeper. He's been there. He's done that. It's Michael Beasley.
Yep.
He has millions of dollars, and none of that really helped him.
Did nothing for him.
Yeah.
Except hurt him even more. And something that you mentioned that I just wanted to circle back on is just knowing like how vital it is to make sure that you got good people in your corner. Right, like it's so interesting to me how like being obviously in Winter Circle, we aren't just the norm here, but seeing how certain coaches interact with certain athletes and knowing like we are investing way more than any coach in middle school ever invested in me, ever, and it's so wild to me how it gets taken for granted. I know that they're kids, right, but it's so interesting how like at a young age you have these people that aren't out with the money grab, that are like here for you, and it's like, I'm willing to give you a ride here, or I'm willing to show up here, or do whatever you
I
need.
would say that's 1% of the
1%,
people,
right?
Because everyone looks at these kids as a meal ticket.
Exactly.
Right? They're not recruiting you to these private schools because you're a good person. They're not recruiting you to these private schools because they like you. They're recruiting you because they're getting wins on their in their win column, right? And it's tough because the kids want to go to these things. They want to, and it's awesome, right? They scholarship you and do those things, but you're looked at as a meal ticket when you are the dude, right?
That's right.
And it's a very confusing time because whether it's the Adidas sponsor or the Battle sponsor, right? The kids want the shoes, they want the back plates, the visors, and they almost sell themselves just for a pair of $100 sneakers.
Happens all the
and
time.
now you're around a bunch of people who really don't care about you, and that's when the trauma starts because you're only as good to them as you can make plays, right?
That's right.
And it starts as early as middle school going into high school, and it's a big money business, and parents just have to be aware of who your kids are around.
That's right.
Right? And I see a lot of coaches that are nobodies who are raising these kids, and they're really not raising them. It's just from one tournament to the next who they could pick up, give them some free gear, and that's when the whole trust issues and betrayal and trauma starts because that coach doesn't pick up the phone if you do get hurt. Right, if you're not around, if you can't score a touchdown for him, and we see it all the time.
All the time. Kids, if you're watching this, pay close attention to the people that are there for you in your darkest moments, that aren't asking for anything from you, that are willing to support you, and that are willing to invest in you in more ways than one.
Amen.
You can still play ball.
So
that's not sustainable.
So I can come up here and I can tell you somebody else's life, and I'm willing to do it. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my head backward. I'm gonna put a smile on for you, and I'm gonna like, bro, I'm gonna.
You don't gotta put nothing on for me.
That's right. Or I can just sit back and I'm gonna tell you what it is. Like I'm not. I know that's not sustainable, but at the same time, like, what?
And what Michael Beasley is saying here is, I could put on a facade. I could go and tell you guys everything is great. Life is good. I'm blessed. I'm Michael Beasley. I got money. I got cars. I got clothes. I'm happy. But he doesn't want to do that, right? He's going on national TV and he's telling them, I'm hurt. I'm broken. Please, somebody listen and give me some true advice so I could go and get down to the root of this issue because I've been searching for an answer for so long. And the same thing that everybody else has done to me, right, to Michael Beasley, you guys are doing now and telling me, hey, just go out and just go hang out, go do this, go do that. And he's like, that's not what I want. There's no hope and there's no peace there. There's no peace and hope for me at going out and doing those things. I'm really trying to dig deep and get to the core of the issue and find out who I am.
That's it. And it's like I said earlier, this is not easy to do, especially to go on live TV and do this in front of people for everyone to watch and scrutinize or whatever they want to do. Man, I really wish we would have had an opportunity to talk with him maybe like off camera and give him the real help that he needs. Despite all that, I got to say that him going on this platform and speaking is going to make a difference in someone's life, right? And that takes just tremendous courage to do. But like you were saying, Jay, we still got to find the deeper issue, the root cause of all this to be able to attack it, and that's something that we're kind of tiptoeing around here.
Yeah,
right.
And I feel like God gave Michael Beasley talent, height, right? ambition, dedication, good looks, a great skill set.
Yeah.
But he struggles communicating with people.
Exactly.
And you could tell he struggles communicating with people. You could tell he was probably an outcast in the locker room.
Yeah, you can see
he
it.
has so many different skill sets, but he struggles communicating with people. And God will give people, especially Michael Beasley, gave him a lot of things, right? The one thing he didn't give him was the gift of communication, clearly, with humans.
Yes.
Right? And I truly feel like for him, he has to understand that the answer isn't in men, right? It's not in people. I think there's something deeper for him that he needs to find out. And God tells us in the Bible, right? Don't trust men. We got to find truth and trust in God. And true peace, I believe, for him is more a spiritual journey, trying to tap into that. And you could just see in his eyes, he's empty, right? There's no hope. It doesn't matter how much materialistic things he has. He's looking for answers, and he has for so long in men and people, and they continue to let him down.
Exactly, and that's just like you were saying, creating that trust issue, right? To the point where now his mantra is, "I'm trying to hoop and go home."
Amen.
You know,
all men are liars, right? Let God be truth.
Like, you got to find good people, and us three can be good people. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's not, that's not sustainable,
like, no
bro.
disrespect to what y'all got going on. I've been trying to find good people for so long. I'm tired, bro.
I would say this.
I'm tired.
It's a 100%, bro.
Like-
it's
like-
so okay to be tired,
Like,
though.
I got, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't got nothing left. You ain't got nothing left to give
I'll
people.
tell you this, bro. I'll be it. Like, whatever you need, dog. Like, if you just want to talk, like, I for sure can't hoop with you. I'll go out there and pass that hoe. Like, what we're saying is, bro, like, we want to be those people. Bringing you here wasn't about this. I wanted to talk basketball and hoops, but dog, folks love you, dog. Nobody want to see you go through this.
Man.
I got me a Beasley jersey out the motherfucking house.
And if you look at him, right, obviously he's crying now. He's trying to search for the answer, and he's trying to talk to them, and they just don't get it. And he's lost pretty much all hope in everything. That's what it kind of looks like, right? He's sad and he's broken, but Michael Beasley is such a strong human being, and we could learn so much from him because he's here on this platform. He's talking about it. It allows people to really to also express themselves, right? And understand that we're not alone, right? And for him, he might think he's very weak, but he is a strong man, and he's talking about his feelings, and he's trying to find true peace. And a lot of people try to find it through substances or through whatever that's out there, you know, and he seems like he's really searching. Everybody else here is drinking. He's not drinking. He's just here to not talk basketball. He's trying to find help, you know, and that's what he's really searching for. And it's sad that he is in this situation. He is broken, and he is in the situation he is, but he is motivating a lot of people out there.
He is, no question about it, man, no question. And like, it's hard watching it. It's hard watching it from a standpoint of like just being another human being and seeing someone struggle, but then it's just also I hear the conviction of him wanting more.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the fighter's chance right there. Like, okay, he wants it, so he's gonna find it, so long as he doesn't lose that. Right. And that's why I said earlier, like, I wish we had a chance to talk like off camera to him, because like the platform here is exactly, like, can't say like, hey, I want to be that guy. It's okay, you're another professional athlete who's out there running around. You got all the stuff you got to do. It's like, how much can you really be that assistance to this guy? You know what I mean?
And I do feel like, right, the system does let us down, because this didn't happen at the end of his career. This is something he's been going through his whole life, through middle school, through high school, through college. And I'm sure he's been asking for his help the whole time, right? But as a coach, you just want to get him back on the floor. Don't worry about it. You're good. Just do what you need to do. Score buckets. Let's get paid. All those different things. And whatever high school he went to, whatever college he went to, whatever NBA team he went to, right? I feel like they let these guys down. They're only good as long as they could score. And the person who he is now didn't happen just overnight and because he's no longer playing basketball. This is years of betrayal and hurt and being taken advantage of, and putting all his trust into humans. And humans are imperfect people, right? And humans are going to let you down. It's not humans' fault. It's not man's fault. It's he's looking for peace and hope and answers, I believe, in the wrong area. And the people who have been in his support circle, they haven't noticed this, right?
Yeah.
I have friends that went through this. Obviously, my best buddy, Everson Griffin, went through something very similar like this when he was in the NFL. And Pete Carroll's seen the struggle he was going through while he was at USC. He's seen the addiction. He's seen all the things, the anger issues. He's seen a lot of those things, and nobody really addressed it. No one wanted to address it. Everybody wanted to overlook it, and all they cared about was, instead of sitting him out a game and getting his mind right, all they cared about was him being able to play.
That's right.
Can he play? Can he still make plays? And if he could, who cares, right? He'll be gone and out of here in 2-3 years to the NFL, and it's somebody else's problem, then somebody else's problem. And eventually, when you can no longer make plays, well, you're no longer in the league. And then whose problem is it at the end of the day when your career ends? It is now your problem, but you've been coddled and catered to, and all your issues and situations have always been brushed underneath the rug because you were just a good athlete. Everybody's always dealt with it and ignored the signs and ignored the player asking for help, just so they could continue to win games. And we see that so much with athletes who are retiring now, talking about mental health every week. I feel like I go on Instagram, I see a new former or famous professional athlete talking about their mental health, right? And I think more people need to be held accountable, but it's such a big business industry that players have to invest into a support system, right? Outside of just a financial advisor, outside of other things, right? They really have to have a spiritual coach. They have to have a mental performance coach. And that's why us having you here at Winter Circle was huge, right? I've seen so many athletes who were top recruits in the country coming out of high school, and myself included. We all struggled, right? We all struggled at one point in time, and the players who come through our program who don't make it pro, they always come back depressed. I've watched hundreds of athletes sign to college, and I've seen hundreds of athletes come back who didn't make it pro, who were all depressed. They had the same look in their eye as he has. You could see the emptiness and the defeat that they had because they don't know where to go. They have nowhere to turn. And that's where, unfortunately, right, those intrusive thoughts happen and suicide happens. And I've watched multiple of my friends kill themselves after college or after playing ball. And it's just a sad situation because the signs were always there.
Always there. It's so wild how from a young age we are taught to neglect our true feelings. And by neglecting our true feelings from the jump, we can never have a true sense of identity
at all,
because we're never real. We're never organic. We're never natural. We're always trying to be someone or something else to make sure that someone likes us, to make sure we get the scholarship, to make sure we stand down a certain way. We can never be ourselves. So then when we finally ask for help, even that itself, I say it's difficult. Here's why. Because now you're doing something that your whole mind and your whole philosophy for life is, we don't worry about that. We brush that aside and we keep it going. And now you're trying to man up and do something for yourself, and it's like, oh, this doesn't feel right either. And then you go to a platform and do it, and then you don't get any assistance. Well, now I have more trust issues. So it's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle, and investing in your village, investing in the 5 people you're going to surround yourself with, man, I'm over here just saying it's a must, because it's either going to set you up for success or you can just keep on enjoying the life that you have now. It's as simple as that. And
identity is something that, when I learned about identity in college, I always knew I was an athlete. But you don't get the why behind it, the identity, how mentally it impacts you. And so many athletes are athletes. That is their identity, right? And when they're no longer an athlete, that is when the problems start.
That's right.
Right? Because I see so many athletes who might not go to college, right? And they struggle with depression, and you see them around the neighborhood still partying, and now they're drinking. They're a completely different person because they're trying to fill a void, and they're trying to mask the hurt, the pain, the hopelessness that they have in their heart. Because they've been told they're athletes so long, that was their entire identity. The game will always end. So your identity cannot be in sports, right? No. And your purpose can't be in materialistic things, right? And for me, I went through that. I learned my career ended just like everybody else's. The one thing that really helped me was my identity from being a football player. And before my career ended, after I got cut from the Cincinnati Bengals, I immediately came home and started Winter Circle because I seen the depression of the year after the year of the guys who were now bouncers at clubs and at Sharky's or in Hollywood. And it's like, dang, they're so sad. They're out there. They're trying to figure out who they are, not even using their degrees. So the moment I got cut from the NFL, I had to start something else. And for me, it was starting Winter Circle. So the depression that so many people go through when their careers end, I was blessed and fortunate enough not to have that because I have purpose again.
Exactly.
Right? But as I go at 24, 25 years old, and 10 years later now, as I jumped from football right into Winter Circle, or I built Winter Circle up to the machine that it is. And once it was done, like I talked about earlier, I accomplished that next goal of I started a business. I have a family. I have financial security. I have everything that I dreamed about.
That's right.
And I put my purpose and my identity again into something else, which was Winter Circle and being a business owner, you know? And it's the same thing because once I was able to accomplish and build this company up and have the financial security in the life that I prayed for, well, once I got it, that's when loneliness set in. Hopeless. So it's a never-ending thing, whether it's you stopping your sports career or you go into the next chapter of your life. You will never find true peace or hope, I believe, in purpose, or if you put purpose into success and money and things like that. Like truly, for me, finding purpose and hope, the only thing that's been helping me is my spiritual walk with Jesus Christ. And that really fulfills me because you start to realize that everything out here, materialistic wise, it's just rented. It doesn't matter if I buy the car or not. When I pass away, the car's still going to be here. Somebody else is going to be driving it. And it's such a hard thing to wrap your head around if your whole life you've been told money, cars, success, NFL contracts, houses, like all the dreaming that as a kid, I dreamed about, that's what you see. That's what you want, And for me, at 35 years old, accomplishing the football career, now the business career, my biggest obsession is finding who I am spiritually, finding a true purpose, right? Not a pleasure. Purpose and versus pleasure are two different things, right?
Right where I'm trying to go.
So I'll find pleasure in buying something or accomplishing a goal or drinking or taking pills, right? Those are all pleasures that you'll do because you really don't have any true purpose. And that's when you find yourself addicted, right? Whether it's addicted to porn, drugs, chasing the next goal, right? So many people, instead of chasing purpose, chase pleasure. And I'm just at the point in my life where I have to find true purpose.
That's right.
True identity. And the only thing that, again, has been able to help me has been my walk with Jesus Christ and really finding out that there's a higher power. And my plan doesn't mean anything. It's all about his plan and getting right for the kingdom. And doing good things and good deeds doesn't get you into heaven, right? Those are just good deeds that you do. And a lot of people, if that was the case, Bill Gates donates money all the time, right? He would get in. But really living a different lifestyle as I go from 35 to into my 40s, finding true purpose and identity. Because if we watch this video, this guy has everything in the world, but he doesn't have nothing at all.
Lacking purpose,
right? So purpose versus pleasure is huge. Identity, understanding really who you are. That's kind of where I'm at in my life.
It's so big, man. It's so wild how it takes us going through so much mud to find this, man. And like I could ramble about my journey and everything, but hearing what you just said, man, is something that I hope y'all run back, right? Because I heard about 4 or 5 nuggets dropped right there. What I just want to say, man, is like I've been doing this for a long time. I've worked with a lot of athletes. I've worked with a lot of people. Those that have a fulfilled life are those that live out a purpose that is bigger than them.
And for the people who are right into the word, Romans 7:20, right?
Speak it.
Now if I do what I do want, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells within me, right? And what that's just saying, right? I don't want to do it, but I do it. And go back to go back to intrusive thoughts. Those thoughts aren't my thoughts, right? That those are the devil's
now
thoughts.
We're talking.
Those are that's my thoughts aren't God's thoughts, right? Those are the devil's thoughts that are attacking me. And when you do things that you don't want to do, that's sin. And we all get caught up in sin and doing what we don't want to do, but we do it because we're not walking right with ourselves and we're not centered in Christ. And I truly believe that's right there. If Michael Beasley could get on that point and he could really find true peace in who he is and understand that there's a higher power out there, he could use his platform to change a lot of people's lives.
It's only episode 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's only episode 2. Okay. I appreciate you pulling that up, Jay. It's so wild. If you don't gain control of your mind and your why, you are just going to live out someone else's. And by doing that, you are living a life that is inorganic, unauthentic.
Yeah.
And you are going to continue to have more and more intrusive thoughts and negative self-talk and doubt and beliefs that are only going to compound.
Such a copycat world.
It's a copycat world, man. Every little thing. Like I said earlier, you either have routines that are building you or bringing you down, and you know which one you fall into.
And you have to find something that you align with it, right? 100%. Find something that you align with, and be obsessed with that, right?
That's it.
Don't try to copy people. And I see people who do that all the time with how we started Winter Circle, and they wonder why they fail. And it's like, Winter Circle is something so organic that we created before it got created, because I lived it. I understood what it really meant, and I knew the people and team I had to create around me to be able to push the agenda forward. And I see so many people who watch what we do on social media, and they say, okay, I could copy that, but that's just the surface. You don't understand the X's and O's. You don't understand the attention to details. You don't understand the adjustments that you have to make in order for this machine to go. And I see these prep academies pop up, and they close down as fast as they pop up.
That's right.
Because it is a copycat world. It's not authentic. It's not who they want to be. And I truly feel like we're at the forefront of what we're doing, and we're blazing our own trail. But also I feel like God has an anointment on Winter Circle because we truly are doing it for the right reasons.
That's right.
We take care of these kids. We pour into them. We do Bible study here. We have sports psychology. We handle their academics, right? It's more than just a place where you could train. I think you could train anywhere. Everyone has a gym. Everyone has a squat rack. But there's only one Winter Circle because it's being done for the right reasons.
That's right.
As much as we've been attacked here at Winter Circle from the outside noise, there's only one reason why we continue to move forward and be blessed, right?
That's right.
Because we're doing it for the right reasons, and we're really pouring into these kids and the company with the circle, right? We're centered in Christ here. But get back to the video, right?
But
I've seen a lot of, I've heard a lot of stories, and I've seen a lot of guys that have come from our demographic and our background. They really, they fight. They fight and they bust their ass.
But everybody just sit there and laugh. Like Antoine Walker go through whatever he go through. Motherfuckers just sit there and make jokes. Allen Iverson was a fucking joke for a while until everybody found out that wasn't true. He turned. It's like, bro, no, bro. Being black is so fake right now. Sheesh. It's like motherfuckers only care when it's time for somebody to die and the cameras to show. It's like, bro, motherfuckers is out here showing every day that they need help. Amen. It's in the music, and we only listen to it till these die. It's like, bro, everybody out here need help, and everybody walking around this motherfucker like they got it all together.
And that's so true right there, and that's so deep, and that's so, right, the black community and culture. When I started doing these podcasts, right, I knew I had to be 100% honest with myself. I had to get all this off of my shoulders to start this whole thing, because that's the only way that I truly felt like I could find peace and hope. And I was holding so many things in for so many years, whether it's my biological father not being there, being in jail, right? When I was raised, losing my grandfather who raised me to cancer, going through addiction, my first high school coach giving me performance-enhancing drugs at 15 years old, to getting addicted to Adderall and getting addicted to pain pills at USC, right? The first thing they gave me as a freshman was those things, right? Adderall to study, to stay up all day and go to practice, and then the pain pills to get through practice and play games. And those addictions, right, they stay with you. Those are, at that point in time in our life, we were kids, we didn't know what we didn't know. We just we wanted to provide for our family. We wanted to go and buy mom a house and a car. We wanted to change our lifestyle. And when I started putting all this stuff out, yeah, you see the positive stuff, but I had a lot of people from the Black community writing on my posts hating. Right? And it's like, dang, you guys are really jumping in my comments as I'm being vulnerable and pouring myself out, and all you have to do is say something stupid, right? And it's like, the people who made these comments, like, I know you're going through stuff. I know who you are, but they all want to walk around like they're perfect, like they have everything figured out. And somebody it's on top of the mountain, right, being successful in the field that I'm in, being a successful football player, nowhere like Michael Beasley, but I would say I'm in the 1% category of people who've done it in 100%. Business and done it in sports, right? And when people see somebody on the pedestal who is struggling, they're not there to pick them up, and they're not there to build them up. They're there to say, hi, I told you he's not perfect. I told you he's this, he took this. Oh, he's a piece of shit. Oh, he's fake. And it's like, I'm not being fake. I'm telling you exactly who I am. I'm being real right now. I want the next person in the community, the next kid, not have to struggle or go through what I went through. I want to give you information and nuggets because I wish somebody did that for me. Right. And it is crazy, kind of him touching on that point right there. So many people struggle, but so many people get made fun of when they come out and go through this. And he named him Allen Iverson himself, right? Dwight Howard. There's so many people who struggle with exactly what we go through, but social media, they only show you what they want you to see, right? The highlights, right? That's why college coaches don't watch highlight films. They watch the full video because that's really who you are. Right. I want to know who you are on the plays you're not making plays, when the ball's going away from you. Are you running to the ball? Are you punching someone in the game? Are you taking plays off? That's why recruiters don't watch just highlights. They watch the full film. Social media allows people to post these highlights and post lifestyles that they're really not living. And I'm over it, It's so fake where I don't even go on Instagram other than to run my company's page because it's disgusting what I'm seeing on social media. And at 35 years old, for me, if it's struggling, I could only imagine where it's at for the younger kids and trying to really keep up with where society's at right now.
It's like they're set up to fail, man.
Yeah.
And I can just hear it in his tone. He's starting to speak a little bit louder. He's being adamant about this. He's been feeling this for a long time, y'all. He's been feeling it for a long time. Our community has not been one that advocates for mental health or seeking assistance, right? Like, I'm hearing him say all this, and not one time have I heard any of the other hosts say, like, hey, what do you need, man?
Yeah.
It's always been like, yo, just come here, just come.
Like, we know everything.
It's like we don't do that. And it's just like the way he was talking about with the dress, like walking around like everything good. It's the same thing, man. We don't know everything, man. And that's okay to admit that, right? Because I've learned that the person that asks the most questions, the most curious one, right, is going to obtain the most knowledge, the most information. And once you have that information, well, then you can go ahead and apply it, and you just set yourself up.
And I feel like our people, we've been told our whole life not to be weak.
Exactly.
Right? Not only the athletes, but the Black culture can't be weak. You got to be strong. And that goes back 100 plus years, for however long, where we had to be tough. We had to be strong. We couldn't show no weakness. We had to be that person. And we have to realize times are changing, and we have to build our community up. We have to build and push the culture, and we have to learn how to communicate, especially if you're a father and you have a young kid coming up through here, right? You got to be able to don't call them soft. And I see it at the youth football field all the time. You have these teams that are playing and dudes from different backgrounds who never coach football, but their coaching points are, don't be a pussy.
Yeah,
You're soft. oh, you're this, you're weak, you're that.
Just reinforcing all the same stuff that we're taught. It's like
you're just beating your kid down, bro.
Yeah.
He's 8 years old, 9 years old. And it's like, no, love him up, build him up. It's okay to encourage your kid. And if he is struggling, then figure out why he's struggling and give him constructive criticism to do the right thing. Not everything comes down to being soft and to being weak, right? And I think that's where that mindset really starts at the younger age, and it's from what's being regurgitated to them. Then they do it to their kid, then it becomes a generational curse. And for me, I'm all about breaking generational curses right now. Being a father, being in the household for my kid, being the first kid in my family going to college, starting my business. And that's the ultimate goal for me, is breaking generational curses. And the only way I could do it and be a better father is if I talk about it and I share my testimony with people and I get held accountable. But I have to be centered in Christ in this whole thing. It's not about my identity as a player. My purpose is running a company, really getting to the root and the meat and potatoes of who I am, self-reflecting on the last 35 years of my life, so we could go and pay it forward to the next generation. I think that's the biggest thing right now. There has to be more people paying it forward and educating the kids coming up, because they have it a lot harder than I feel like we had it because of the social media and the pressures that's out there.
I can't even imagine growing up in this generation, man.
It's tough.
It's wild. It's wild. You see the main point that we're circling around is purpose, right? So if you're taking anything away from this, is understanding you need to get in tune with what your purpose is, right? And that may not be easy for you to do. Hopefully there's something that we're talking about you can take home. But if you ever need any assistance with that, you know we're at Winter Circle 24/7.
Yep.
All right. And then additionally, I think, JC, the testament to you, man, being able to be a black male and be a model for all of these youth athletes here that come through these doors every day, man. It's something that they're around so much that's familiar, and right, it creates an idea in their head like it's possible.
Yeah.
Right. This. I can take care of my business. I can become an athlete. I can get my grades, and I can be here on time. I'm being held to this standard, right? The standard of not only just like excellence as an athlete, but as a citizen.
Yeah.
Right. Because like it's just been too long. We've been saying the narrative for too long. And like you said, it's our duty to make sure that we're pouring into the future to give them everything that they need, man, because it's a special group and they are struggling.
Yeah.
And it's only the more and more we turn a blind eye is the more and more Michael Beasleys we're going to have.
100%.
It's our
Thank
duty.
You for giving me my flowers.
100%.
You're in the same boat, right? You really pour into these
100%.
kids. And parents out there, one thing for you guys, as you guys watch this, you got to listen to your kids and pay attention to what's going on. Don't talk at them, right? This whole video, these guys here are talking at Michael Beasley, where he's imploding, right? He's so upset because everything that everybody else has told him, he's on this thing and they're just telling him exactly the same thing. They're talking at him versus listening to him. And right now with the kids who are struggling with peer pressure, with do I go this way or do I go this way, right? The fork in the road. Right now is such a pivotal time for these kids because a lot of these kids are picking what high school they're going to go to, so they have extra pressure on them. There is a lot of kids out there who are comparing themselves to other kids. Everybody has their own path, and not everybody is the same, right? It's an individualized approach. And for me, I started off at a Division VIII school, Rubidoux High School, ended up transferring to Norco High School, right? Yep. And ended up winning multiple high school championships, going to college, leaving USC after my junior year, going into my senior year, going to Louisville, leaving Louisville after my first semester there, going to the worst Division II school in the country, New Mexico Highlands, turning that program around and turning it into a top 25 program in the country and being the first winning program there in probably 20 years and getting a shot to go to the NFL. Getting cut on national TV on HBO Hard Knocks by the Cincinnati Bengals, coming back home, starting my business at 24, turning 25 years old, getting a shot by Eric Bieniemy, who's with the Chiefs, who's now at UCLA, making a little bit of money there on the practice squad, getting cut there, going to the Redskins, getting injured, ending my career at about 25 years old, and starting my company, right? I don't look at myself as a failure. Right, I questioned myself throughout the times because my ultimate dream was to be in the NFL, make millions of dollars. But God's plan for me was so much greater, because if I was in the NFL, I would have had the Ferrari, I would have crashed it, probably got a DUI, would have done something stupid, where I want to be where I'm at today, right? I want to be the husband, a father. I want to be able to be and have Winter Circle to really pour into these kids in the community. So everyone has their different paths, right? And I know how hard it was for me to accept that I didn't go to USC and go and be a first-round draft pick like I thought, right? There's very few kids who become a high school All-American, college All-American, and get drafted. That's less than 1%,
Yeah, that's
right?
not-
So understand what it
Yeah.
really looks like. It's called a journeyman, right? My journey was all over the place from USC, Louisville, New Mexico, 3 different states in college, 6 years, right? 3 different NFL teams, Ohio, Missouri, DC, right? But at the end of the day, it all led me back to where I'm at now. And God allowed me to stray and go figure out and see all these different cultures and backgrounds and meet so many different people that I was able to come back to where I'm at now. And if your kid isn't a kid who's going to go and get a Division I scholarship, he might go D2, right? Don't judge them off that. Don't compare him to the kid who is going D1. Just support your kid, right? Go get an education. Allow him to go and grow. But don't put these limits on them that are not attainable, right? Just create some attainable goals for your kids. So many parents I see are living through their kids. And really the drama and stress that happens at this age is a lot due from the parents, you know? And so if the parents are watching this, just understand it's okay. Continue to have your kid work hard, create a good circle around him, make wise decisions, be around your kid and be on top of him, because if he is a good athlete, there's going to be a lot of these street agents and hustlers out there who are trying to get their hands on him. And right, you could turn into a Michael Beasley who's been used and he's been stolen from, and has so much trauma and disappointment and trust issues that it not only does it impact himself, I'm sure it impacts his wife, his marriage, his kids. It's going to be a generational curse that's going to be on him because the parents weren't there to really help these kids navigate, and they didn't have the right team and circle around them.
That's it. It takes that village.
It takes
a village, man. You know, make sure that you're finding those people. Right, we touched on it earlier. Make sure you find the people that are willing to invest in you, love you, support you, get you what you need, not necessarily what you want, because you don't even really know what you need at times. Right, have that person who's not necessarily just a yes man, but someone who is going to guide you down the path towards success. Parents, if you're watching this, special shout out to you. I'm gonna be holding a parent-kid sports psychology session. All right, if you listen to this, you can get that first one in. Let me know, get you that special offer for that. Because I do think that we need to start educating the parents, as you are the main leaders in your kids' lives, and they are learning so much from you, more than you even know. So be that listener, and be sure to be in contact with us as well. If there's ever anything that you're noticing or anything like that at all, man, don't hesitate to reach out. We want the best for them. You can find us. Well, here I'm at Winter.
Instagram page?
Yeah, I'm at Winter Circle every day. But you can also find me at Championship Cognition, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, anything, X. But yeah, anything you need at all, I'm always here. We're always here. And at the end of the day, they're only going to get out what they give, right? And you play a major role in what they're able to give. Okay.
Amen. Well, thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. Episode 2, Inside the Circle, with my man Jake Lee from Championship Cognition.
Thank you.
We're going to be delivering different things every single week, right? Episode 1 was how Winter Circle started. Episode 2, I felt like we really needed to dive into this topic. Episode 3 is going to be with my buddy Chris Gallipo, former 5-star All-American, MVP of the All-American game, has a crazy story, and us two are going to get together and talk things from recruiting to college football to USC, how it was living in LA in a big time during that time with Pete Carroll, and so much more, right? And life after football. So subscribe, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. We're out.